Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Now, it's real early in the relationship, of course, I'll give you that, but I think what we're seeing here is Kevin McCarthy 2.0. I'm always going to give credit where credit is due. I'm going to have an open mind, and I'm going to allow people to try to prove me wrong. Kevin McCarthy might be doing that because, listen, he's saying the right things, and that's important. Of course, it needs to be followed by doing the right things, but I have never heard Kevin McCarthy be this direct and this vocal. You know, in a lot of these cases, you'd expect Kevin McCarthy to take a little bit of a weak stance. For instance, in defense of Donald Trump, you'd expect him to maybe take a neutral perspective, but he seems to be taking a different approach, dismantling the media's questions with actual facts, and I'll show you what I mean by that later in the video. But first off, let's start with Kevin McCarthy's major announcement, a new Joe Biden investigation, what people are calling the Biden Grand Theft of State Secrets. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so here's the announcement. The GOP House will be investigating Joe Biden. Kevin McCarthy makes it official.
Let him finish.
Do you see this matter regarding the classified documents found in President Biden's home going before that committee?
I see it could go from that committee or others, but I think Congress has to investigate this. Here's an individual that's been in office for more than 40 years. Here's an individual that sat on 60 Minutes that was so concerned about President Trump's documents locked in behind, and now we find it just as a vice president, keeping it for years out in the open in different locations. I do not think any American believes that justice should not be equal to all. And we found from this administration what happened before every single election, whatever comes out that they utilize to try to falsify it, they try to have different standards for their own beliefs. That doesn't work in America.
Yeah. Go after them and be absolutely unrelenting in pursuit of the truth. This is exactly what we expect from GOP House leadership, and I hope it continues. And what I'm really appreciating from Kevin McCarthy is his strong defense of Donald Trump. The media, of course, asking totally biased, partisan leading questions, but Kevin McCarthy didn't shy away, and he tackled the issue head on and hit back with facts.
Yes,
do you see a difference in that former President Trump denied repeated requests for all of his classified documents for more than a year, and President Biden's lawyers turned in documents after finding them?
No, because from one standpoint, they knew the documents were there. They actually asked President Trump to put another lock on them, so they were locked. You look at President Biden. He wasn't president. He was vice president. He held these in different locations right out in the open. He criticized President Trump. Did he utilize the Justice Department to raid President Trump? Did you think that was right? They knew this has happened to President Biden before the election, but they kept it a secret from the American public. He goes on 60 Minutes, criticizes President Trump, even knowing what he has done, and he wasn't president at the time. Now we find another location that it's at, but he refused to answer. His press secretary won't answer the questions. You watched them leak photos of sitting out files of President Trump. Where's the photos of President Biden's documents? Where are those photos at? He knowingly knew this happened going into election, going into interviews. This is what makes America not trust their government. You cannot have one form of law because somebody philosophically has a different opinion than you, and you can't use the Justice Department to go after people that are politically different as well. It has to be equal across, and what I'm finding what's happening with President Biden time and again, you go from a laptop saying it not only that it wasn't true, but utilizing your own friends to go into companies to tell them to say the same thing, to try to knock down information, to try to make sure the New York Post story couldn't be printed. You should be offended by that. You are of the press. You should be allowed to write even when you knew it was true. So,
If you allowed to
yes, sir.
Entitlement reform this Congress, and if so, would you be open to including a higher tax?
He's absolutely right, and that right there is what should be investigated as well. Joe Biden's weaponization of the DOJ. McCarthy puts it into perspective, makes it quite clear. The Biden administration knew that they were holding classified documents since the election, if I heard him correctly. Maybe I heard wrong, but anyways, they knew about these classified documents since before the investigation and the raid on Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago home, yet they hid it from the public. Then, of course, we have internal documents proving proving that Joe Biden was directly involved. Even after taking office, I forget the exact details, but he changed the law in relation to a Records Act and then directly greenlit the investigation into Donald Trump over his possession over classified documents. Yet the entire time that they were creating this Documentgate scandal, promoting all of these ridiculous conspiracies, Joe Biden doing media tours condemning Donald Trump for being so incredibly irresponsible, blah, 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 the entire time he was in possession of classified documents, he knew it, and his team knew it. And then all of a sudden, after the election, it drops, pretty much putting the DOJ's new special counsel investigation into Donald Trump's handling of classified documents dead in the water. And they're also probably dropping this story to distract from something else, maybe the border, who knows what. But the constant corruption, the weaponization of the DOJ, the double standard injustice, which can no longer stand. Joe Biden just gets to do things and get away with them. For 50 years working in government, literally stealing classified documents as the former vice president of the United States, knowing about it and willfully misleading and lying to the public to make sure the information didn't drop before the election. We need to see Republicans go on the offensive immediately. Frankly, I think this might even justify an impeachment. It's hard to say whether they should or shouldn't do it. To be honest, it might just be a complete friggin' waste of taxpayer dollars. And I feel like the whole impeachment thing has been diluted. Democrats have turned it into some sort of partisan tool. But in my opinion, Joe Biden here has committed a crime. And the old GOP would have probably let it go, just like they did with the Hunter Biden laptop. Even friggin' Mitt Romney promoting that absolutely bogus narrative that it's probably Russian misinformation. 50 top intelligence officials warn that it fits all the hallmarks of Russian disinformation. People like Mitt Romney actually promoting that ridiculous narrative. The old GOP would have let the Democrats do what they want, and they wouldn't have defended Donald Trump so vehemently. And so it's honestly a breath of fresh air to be seeing this, to be hearing this on day one of Kevin McCarthy's speakership. I'm going to give him credit. He's hitting all the nails right on the head, absolutely debunking the leftist narrative involving the Documentgate scandal, promising investigations into Joe Biden, launching committees into the weaponization and politicization of federal agencies, kicking Adam Schiff and the rest of these goons off of their committee positions, and he's even going hard on January 6th. That is the one thing that I was really expecting Republicans to kind of just get all squeamish, assume the fetal position, and declare defeat. But he's going on the offensive there, doubling down on his promise to release all of the CCTV footage of that day, and even slamming Nancy Pelosi's ridiculous sham January 6th trial, or show trial, her little hearing, as being one-sided, partisan, preemptively deciding what their end result was going to be and then working backwards to justify their claims. Enough is enough. And honestly, while this is good, while it's a start, I still don't think it goes far enough. I still don't think it's enough from Kevin McCarthy, considering the evil that we are up against. And yes, I really mean evil. I don't say that facetiously. Frankly, it's time to get pissed. You're paying attention to the legal double standards, the bias and the weaponization of the media and federal agencies, law enforcement, the justice system. If you're paying attention to this and you're not pissed, then something's wrong. And so we need to continue seeing more energy, more promises, but most importantly, more action. Continue to investigate and get on the offensive. Democrats have been on the offensive since 2017, since Donald Trump's first inauguration, and the GOP has done nothing for the last 6 years. Even when they controlled a majority in the House and in the Senate, they pretty much teamed up with the Democrats because the Orange Man was just so scary and so bad and so mean. It was uncharted territory. They wasted 2 good years of Donald Trump's first half term, and since then it's been 4 years of Nancy Pelosi's reign, with very little GOP pushback. Well, now we got 2 years under you, Speaker McCarthy. It's time to make them count. This is a start, but it doesn't go far enough, and it's time to get on the offensive. We'll just have to keep paying attention, keep holding this man accountable. The next 2 years should be a rallying cry, heading into a strong 2024 rebuke of the last 6 years of Democrat overreach, corruption, and weaponization. That's what I got for you guys on this one, though. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Of course, we would love to have you here at the Liberal Hive Mind. Thanks for watching, friends, and I'll see you on the next one.